Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Fifth Meeple Board Game Podcast, where great games come to battle. We're a group of diverse friends who offer our takes on the latest and greatest board games to hit our table. I'm your host, Chris, the intellectual introvert, and I'm joined today by the Collector.
Hey, this is David.
And the Deluxeifier.
Hello, it's Pete.
If you're listening from anywhere in America, and maybe even if you're not, you know that college basketball is in the midst of determining their champion in the little tournament they like to call March Madness. Well, here at the Fifth Meeple, we also run an annual tournament of our own, pitting all of the Battle of the Funnest winners from our past year's episodes against each other in a tournament that we call Meeple Madness. We'll face them off 2x2 until only one game remains, claiming the Meeple Madness title in the ultimate survival of the funnest. Now, this year we have 18 games in this year's tournament. In our very first tournament, Planet Unknown was the winner. In 2025, Lost Ruins of Arnak came out on top. I've taken these 18 games here. I've seeded them simply based on the ranking on BGG at the time that I put the bracket together. So on today's show, we're going to do a few matchups to whittle them down to the Sweet 16, and then we'll run through that first full round to get to the Elite Eight. Before we do, though, I'm going to list our 18 in the order that they're seeded, and I'm going to challenge David, Pete, and myself to guess which game is going to come out on top. We're going to keep that secret until we crown a champion, and I would invite everyone listening to do the same. But here are the 18 games in our tournament from our top seed down to number 18. We have Great Western Trail, Nemesis, Everdell, Tzolk'in, The Mayan Calendar, Darwin's Journey, Endeavor Deep Sea, The Quest for El Dorado, Res Arcana, Space Base, Castle Combo, Century Golem Edition, Apiary, Flip 7, Shackleton Base, A Journey to the Moon, Moon Colony Bloodbath, Black Forest, Magical Athlete, and Spectacular. A lot of really, really, really good games. Gentlemen, take a minute, make a prediction on who you think is going to win this whole thing.
I'm locked in.
I got mine, I think.
I got mine as well. We will make sure that we do not allow that to affect how we vote on these things. We tend to be pretty honest. You guys ready to go? Then we just jump right into it. We got a lot of games to put up against each other.
Yeah, this is my favorite time of the year. I love this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it.
All right, let's tip this thing off. We all know how it works. Hopefully, if you're listening, you do too. But if you're listening for the first time, for each of these head-to-head matchups, we're going to compare both games in 5 different categories: theme and production, mechanisms, value through your time, replayability, and the fun factor. We will each choose which game we think outdoes the other in each category. The game that gets the most votes wins the category, and the game that wins the most categories wins the battle and moves on to the next round in our tournament. Our first 2 matchups are between the bottom 4 seeds. It's kind of a playing round to determine who our Sweet 16 will be. We're going to start with Moon Colony Bloodbath versus Spectacular. Now, Moon Colony Bloodbath, it's a 1 to 5 player engine building, engine losing tableau game that places you in charge of your own lunar colony, struggling against never-ending disasters. Its current BGG ranking is 934, and Moon Colony Bloodbath destroyed Empire's End in episode 49 to make the tournament. Spectacular is a 1 to 6 player dice and tile placement game where you develop your own animal park for vulnerable species. Its current BGG ranking is 1,925, and it outsang Harmonies in episode 67 to win a spot in Meeple Madness. We're going to get right into this. Moon Colony Bloodbath versus Spectacular. We will start with theme and production. These are always hard because sometimes these games are very, very different. This is one of them, so I'll kick it to Pete.
All right. Well, I'm going to come in with something I'm not expecting, but theme and production. I'm going to go with Moon Colony Bloodbath. As much as it's not my favorite, the Spectacular really does absolutely nothing for me. But there is, there's the theme. The theme with Moon Colony Bloodbath is there, and so that's going to be my first vote. David.
Yeah. So for me on these ones, I'm going to also give it to Moon Colony Bloodbath for a different reason. I think the theme's great. Spectacular, if you don't remember because you didn't set it up, but the production I think is actually pretty good. That everybody's players comes in boxes that basically you just take out different colors and then they have all their pieces in there, which I like because it's a quicker start. But there's a lot of things that go on with that. But Moon Colony Bloodbath just does it for me. The theme alone, there's not many games that I can remember that has the theme that it does. So for that reason, Moon Colony Bloodbath for sure.
All right. Well, I'm just going to agree with what you guys said. Production, definitely Spectacular is better than that. But Moon Colony Bloodbath, the theme is just hilarious. It's great. The production is really not that good, but it's such a great theme and it comes across. You're just like the whole world is coming down around you. I'm going with Moon Colony Bloodbath as well, which means theme and production, it's a sweep. by Moon Colony Bloodbath. We will go to mechanisms, and I'll kick it right back to David.
Yeah, for me, a mechanism wise, I'm just gonna go with Moon Colony Bloodbath. It's a game that I really like. The main mechanism of that game is that you're trying to stay alive and you have population in that game, right? And basically you're just doing everything you can to not get eliminated from that game. Everything's trying to kill you. You're trying to slowly build up, but it's kind of like this weird build up engine to destroy it to be the last one there. And I like games like that where everybody's just taking a beating together. Who can take the beating the longest? So for that reason, I'm going Moon Colony Bloodbath. I'm going to switch it over to Pete.
All right. Well, I am going to go with Spectacular on this one. I think the mechanics, I do like them a little bit better with the dice, utilizing the dice that come through and the actual tiles. Moon Colony Bloodbath, we're pulling off of a pile. As you said, it's almost like a bingo mechanism. And I just don't, it just doesn't do anything for me. So I'm going to go with Spectacular here. Chris, what do you got?
I really like dice drafting. I like tile laying games. So Spectacular's mechanisms speak to me a lot. I really like, though, in Moon Colony Bloodbath, where you have this community deck and you're doing some deck building as well. You can play cards that go into the deck. You can put actions out there for everybody as well. That's an interesting mechanism to me. But at the same time, you only have so much agency as you're going through this game. And it's really just those couple of times that you have an opportunity, you got to take advantage of it. It's not quite enough for me mechanism wise. I'm actually going to go with Spectacular, which means Spectacular wins mechanisms. We have a 1-1 tie. We'll go now to value for your time. I'm going to go first here. I like both of these games, but Moon Colony Bloodbath for me is one that once you start it, again, a little bit you feel you're okay, and then all of a sudden the world starts falling apart. We play that game. It tends to go fast, even though it's not super fast. It feels like it's fast because it's fun the whole time for me. And typically when I'm done, I know it was a good use of my time because I'm like, okay, are we going to run that back? It's Moon Colony Bloodbath for me. I'll kick it back to Pete.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that. Moon Colony Bloodbath, the value for the time, it is a longer game, but it does feel fast. Where I think the other one we're doing drafting, it's a little bit more puzzly, and that's not my favorite thing. So I do enjoy the, as you said, David, build it up and tear it down. I think that's going to go for me. David, we sweeping, or what do you got?
Yeah, so for value for my time, I'm just looking up because we have BG stats and a lot of us keep it, 30-minute average play time on Spectacular. Moon Colony Bloodbath average to be about an hour, so almost double the length. But that's because in Spectacular, we're playing simultaneously. We're passing dice, we're doing everything at the same time and kind of waiting for it to go on. When it comes, though, for my value for my time, I'm going to go with Moon Colony Bloodbath for the reasons that Pete and Chris both said. I don't feel like that hour is actually an hour, so I don't feel it. I don't actually feel the time in Spectacular either that much. So that says something for being a short game. But Moon Colony Bloodbath, for me, just takes it because that hour doesn't feel like an hour for me. So there we go.
All right, Moon Colony Bloodbath, another sweep. In this case, value for your time. We go on to replayability. Right back to David.
This one's a little bit more tricky. I think Spectacular does a lot of cool things with dice and kind of how those tiles come out and the different combinations you can put on there. This one's tough. I'm gonna go with Spectacular on this one. I think that there's more replayability. I've played Moon Colony Bloodbath quite a bit, and I think I've seen most of the stuff there. So for that reason, I might just be a little burned out, but I'm gonna go with Spectacular. Kicking it over to Pete.
Yeah, you made the right call on that one, David. Moon Colony Bloodbath, you know what's coming, what's in that deck. And again, you're going to shuffle in. You're adding maybe a card or two in there at a particular time. It's going to feel a lot the same to me. Whereas, the way that the tiles come out, the numbers that get rolled, that puzzle factor, there's just going to be a little bit more for me on with replayability with Spectacular. Chris, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, it doesn't matter because we've already got 2 votes for Spectacular. But I'm at the same place for the same reason. There's Moon Colony Bloodbath. Well, it's fun. It does seem the same every time. It's kind of the same up and down. There are different maybe robots that can come in there and things like that. It's the same. Spectacular has a lot of different options. It's Spectacular for me, a sweep on replayability, as is often the case early on in tournaments like these. We've got a close one, closer than I expected it to be. Spectacular making a run, but we go to the fun factor. I'm going to start this one off, and I'm just going to tell you, Moon Colony Bloodbath for me is a blast from the time it starts to the time it's over. Who knew trying to avoid death would be so much fun? And that's what you're doing in this game. I have a blast with that. I'm going with Moon Colony Bloodbath. Spectacular again. I enjoy the mechanism part of it, but there's laugh out loud moments on Moon Colony Bloodbath a lot for me. Pete, where you at?
Yeah, I'm gonna say neither one of these really are super fun for me. I've made it pretty clear when we were doing our voting that Moon Colony Bloodbath is not one of my favorite games. But I am gonna give it the edge here when it comes to fun, mostly for what you said. It's got that tongue-in-cheek kind of gameplay is really what it comes down to. And it is fun watching other people get crushed. You're just hoping you're not the one getting crushed. As far as fun with the other one, I think if you really like puzzles and like that kind of game, I think that might be more fun for some people. But that's not where my heart lives in those games. So I'm gonna go with Moon Colony Bloodbath, with as much as it pains me to say it. David, go ahead.
Yeah, for me, this is an easier one. I just look at what both games kind of do. Spectacular. I think there's a lot of games in that kind of line of games of, tile lane, dice placement. It does stuff that's a little bit unique, but nothing that I haven't seen before. Moon Calling Bloodbath to me, it's a unique game. I think it'll stay on my shelf for quite a while just because there's nothing quite like it. And I do like the reactions that people have. Were like, wait, the first one who dies is the one that's out, and we're like, yeah. They're like, are we gonna die? We're like, yeah, you're probably gonna die. To make it to the end is pretty difficult. In fact, sometimes we try to help each other, so we all try to make it to the end, kind of play it as a co-op game. But for whatever reason, Moon Colony Bloodbath, if you haven't played it, it's pretty fun. So I'm gonna go there with fun factor and sweep it with us.
Yep. So Moon Colony Bloodbath takes the fun factor, and with a score of 3-2 in a barn burner, Moon Colony Bloodbath beats Spectacular. It will move on in our tournament. All right, we'll move on to our next play-in game. In this case, we have Magical Athlete, which is our number 16 seed, against Black Forest, our number 17 seed. And this is, again, one of those interesting matchups. These games could not be more different, I think, when you look at these. Magical Athlete, it's a 2 to 6 player roll and move racing game where crazy characters with game-breaking abilities compete to be the first to cross the finish line. Its current BGG ranking is 981. I can't believe it's not higher, honestly. And Magical Athlete outraced Hot Streak in episode 80 just a few shows ago to get here. Black Forest, on the other hand, is a 1 to 4 player worker placement game where you travel from village to village, engaging specialists to help transform your little hut in the woods into a glass-making empire. Its current BGG ranking is 1082. I can't believe it's not higher. And it defeated Revive in a mistake that I think we made in episode 51 to make the tournament. Again, I still think we made a mistake there, but let's find out. We have Magical Athlete versus Black Forest. Theme and production, I'll start with David.
Yeah, so theme and production on this one, these are two vastly different games. To me, it just comes down to, I think the production value on both of them is actually pretty good. With Magical Athlete, you're getting a bunch of different kind of characters in there that are screen printed on, I think, at least on one side, and they all kind of, you get like 30 or 40 of them. I can't remember how many. There's a lot of them that are in there. They're all individual, which is kind of cool. There's not just like a generic block for somebody. Everybody has something on there. But Black Forest, I think the production value there is good. So production to me is a split. It's what theme do I like better? And the goofiness and wackiness of Magical Athlete to me just shines through. I like it. I like the theme. I like the quirkiness of it. I like all the different characters. They're kind of weird. And the theme just works for me. Just being in this wild, crazy race and trying to see who comes out on top. That's just fun for me. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to kick it over to Pete and see what he thinks.
All right. Theme and production. I really think the production value on Black Forest is beautiful. The board's beautiful. I like the components on it. As far as the production value on Magical Athlete, yeah, the meeples are really cool, but the rest leaves a little bit to be desired for me. But I think where it really shines for me is the theme really comes through with Black Forest, actually, just the way that it works. I feel like I'm building that glass, and I love the way that those component those wheels work. And I know that's part of the mechanics, but it really comes through with the theme for me. So I'm going to go with Black Forest, and then I'm going to go over to Chris. What do you got?
Yeah, I don't know that I have much more to say that you guys haven't already said. What really made me make my choice here as I was listening to you guys talk was the theme for Black Forest and the way it is incorporated in. You have your forests out there, you have to cut them down so that you can get wood and all those kind of things. I thought that was worked really well. Magical Athlete's got a pretty funny theme. We already talked about the production. It's Black Forest for me, which means 2-1. Black Forest wins theme and production. We will go to mechanisms. I will start this one. I say it a lot on this show when it happens. If you can take a mechanism that I don't particularly like and turn it into a game where I want to play that game, you have done something. And Magical Athlete, it's a roll and move player elimination on occasion game. I don't want to play it when you tell me either one of those, let alone both of them. Yet I really enjoy playing Magical Athlete. At the same time, I look at that wheel in Black Forest as the mechanism that, while other parts of Black Forest might be semi-normal, so to speak, that wheel is brilliant. Once you wrap your head around it, it's really fun to manipulate. And that, for me, is going to make it Black Forest for me. I'll go to David.
Yeah, I'm just gonna not even say much more. I agree. I think the wheel mechanism and just how you do resources on that game sets it apart from a lot of games on that one mechanism going around where you think you have stuff and then the wheel has to move automatically, and what that resource is that you thought you had is no longer there because you made glass or something crazy like that. To me, when you wrap your mind around that one mech, that makes the game for me on that one. So I'm gonna also go with Black Forest. I'm gonna kick it over to Pete.
Yeah, we're just going to sweep that one. You guys said everything that I was going to say. So Black Forest, just the way that everything ties together is just phenomenal when it comes to that. So Black Forest.
All right. Well, Black Forest is really hamming it up here. It wins mechanisms. It goes ahead 2-0. We go to value for your time, Pete.
Yeah, this one I'm going to go the other way. Value for my time, Magical Athlete. It's a great fun, and I'm using the term fun, but the time that I spend with it is really fun and engaging. As Chris said, to take, I know I'm lumping the other mechanics into it, but those things together give me that value within that time frame. Black Forest, I love the game, but it's definitely a much longer game. And I'm going to play that game once. Where Magical Athlete, we play 3 games at one time, 3 rounds or 4 rounds, and I get my fill there. But I'm just going to go with Magical Athlete. I'm going to go back to Chris. Let's go back to Chris.
Yeah, I'm going to go the other way. I'm surprising myself here. I'm going to go with Black Forest because, well, certainly Magical Athlete is quicker. We've also had discussions that even though it's a quick game, it kind of takes longer than maybe you would want it to for that type of game. And Black Forest, again, it's longer, but there's so much more substance in there. And I think if I'm going to spend my time playing a game, if it's an equal amount of time, I'm going with Black Forest. So Black Forest, to me, we've got a tie on this one. David, I need you to break it.
Yeah, so I wanted to look at play times. Magical Athlete, I'm averaging around 30 minutes of play there, which is probably what we all think of kind of that game. Black Forest, I'm averaging around 2 hours. And so I asked myself a question. I have fun playing both of these games, but when it comes to games that are in those genres, meaning games that I play in a half hour, how often am I pulling Magical Athlete out? I think I'm pulling it out quite actually often for that half hour kind of game mark, where the 2 hour game mark, there's a lot of great games I like to play. Black Forest is one of them, but I'm not sure I'm pulling it out as much in that category. And so therefore, for my value, for my time, I'm going to go with Magical Athlete on that one, just kind of how I splice it down in my head. So Magical Athlete it is on that one. Yeah, cool.
All right, Magical Athlete with a burst of speed wins value for your time. It is now 2-1. Black Forest over Magical Athlete. We go to replayability. Right back to David.
Yeah, this one's easy for me, even though there's a lot of characters in Magical Athlete, and I like to see how those combinations come out. For the amount of times I played it, it seems like the same characters always keep coming out of the deck, so I'm not quite sure. Sometimes I feel like I should just randomize it more, but because I always am playing with different groups, even though other people haven't seen it, I've seen a lot of the characters, the same characters, unfortunately. Where Black Forest, I just love the puzzle. For me, the replayability is there. I think that it's unique in what it does, and I like that puzzle in my head. So I'm going with replayability on Black Forest. I don't think I've seen everything yet on that game has to offer, where Magical Athlete, I think I've seen it all. Kicking it over to Pete.
Yeah, replayability, I'm going to agree with you. Black Forest. The startup with the different tiles in the different areas, I like that the way that works. The tiles that are buildings that you can actually build. We can flip over A's and B sides. There's a lot of variety in there. And yeah, there's 30 characters in Magical Athlete, but you're kind of doing the same thing. You're rolling a die and moving. As far as the replayability, you know what you're getting into. It's going to be a goofy, fun race, but there's much more replayability, seeing different things, other than did one guy land on another. So that's what I'm gonna go with. Replayability. It is Black Forest. Chris.
Yep, I'm going to go with Black Forest as well. You talked about those tiles in each village. They can change in the middle of a game, right? They can be moving around from village to village. with that certain action. So you're getting a different experience even throughout the game. It's Black Forest for me on replayability to sweep that category. We go to the fun factor. I'll go to Pete.
All right, fun. These are again are way two different games as far as the fun factor goes. Am I going to be laughing a lot? Yes, with Magical Athlete. Am I going to have a great time figuring out a puzzle with Black Forest? Yes, I'm going to have a fun time figuring that out. And I just prefer, and there's going to be a little bit of bias here, just a more in-depth game. So I'm going to go with Black Forest for fun for me. I would rather play that than the other game. David, you're shaking your head. What do you
Yeah,
agree?
except I'm going against you on this one. I just think the fun factor, I get what you're saying. I do like that puzzle myself, and probably would prefer to play that over Magical Athlete almost any day of the week. But the fun factor, when I bring that to the table, to me, there's just a certain amount of fun that I didn't know you could have with rolling rights. I thought we were past that when we did Monopoly, but I guess somebody can bring it back and do it in a different way. And I think that makes it fun that I can enjoy as a gamer playing, especially with non-gamers, because that's where really that game shines at. And to me right now, I think it's one of the best that actually is doing something in that genre where I actually will bring it out to play with non-gamers. So that says something about the fun I'm having, I guess. Moving over to Chris.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Magical Athlete as well. I'm the introvert. Magical Athlete brings me out of that, and I'm laughing, having a good time, smiling, maybe yelling. There's a character in there where it's my job if I have it to heckle someone else whenever they have a bad roll. That's always fun. Fun factor for me, it's Magical Athlete. I enjoy Black Forest. I have fun playing Magical Athlete. Magical Athlete wins the fun factor, but it's still a blackout. Black Forest, with a count of 3-2, beats Magical Athlete to move on in our Meeple Madness tournament. So we now have our Sweet 16 filled out. Black Forest, as a reward for beating Magical Athlete, gets to go against the #1 seed in our tournament. We'll get right into that. So we'll stick with Black Forest. It's going to go up against Great Western Trail. We covered this in a recent episode. It's a 2 to 4 player deck building and hand management game that places you in the Old West, driving your cattle herd to Kansas City to make the big sale. Its current BGG ranking is 17. It's got another version that's ranked at 31. It stampeded Maracaibo in episode 87 to win a spot in Meeple Madness, taking our #1 spot here. Great Western Trail versus Black Forest. Theme and production, we will go to Pete.
Oh man, this is going to be a tough bracket here with these two going up against each other. The theme and production, we're on equal footing now. These are both pretty intense games, and the theme and production, I really think Black Forest is just going to give me a little bit of the edge. The theme really comes through. The production value is very nice. I do like the theme. The production in Great Western Trails, so. I am going to go with Black Forest, surprising myself a little bit. Let's go over to Chris. Let's see what he has to think.
I don't know yet. See what
That's
I
a
can
tough
talk.
one.
Yeah, we'll see what I can talk myself into here. I mentioned we had a recent episode here on Great Western Trail, and in that I said the theme is funny. It's cows, just a whole handful of cow cards. I grew up in the boonies, and so a cow theme is just fun to me. At the same time, production is nothing fantastic there. Black Forest, I feel like, is pretty good. The theme, though, is really well incorporated. I mentioned it in the last round where the theme makes sense with the mechanics. Production, I don't know if there's anything great, but it's that extra little bit where the theme makes sense. I'm going to have to give it to Black Forest. David, did we get this wrong, or are you with us?
I'm probably with you guys on this one. I'm just looking at some box art of the two and just kind of the components and stuff. I think it really shows you how far the board game industry has come, because I do think the production quality on Black Forest is better. Theme, I don't really care either one. Black Forest, I honestly didn't even know what the theme was until you guys told me about it about 5 minutes ago, because I would just say it's a typical Euro game, but I do like the artwork on it. To me, it's stunning. I think a lot of people haven't seen Black Forest. I think it is a hidden gem to some extent. And if you haven't played that, you should get your hands on it. But production wise, just because of where we're at today, I feel like, maybe if Great Western Trail is produced in 2024, it'd look a little different too. But to me, Black Forest just takes it on that, because theme to me is about the same.
All right, so Black Forest sweeps theme and production. I'm not sure I saw that coming, but maybe. We'll go to mechanisms. I'm going to actually kick this one off, and I'm going to keep that Forest train running. I think that wheel in Black Forest is just excellent. I don't know that anything super stands out in Great Western Trail with respect to mechanisms, other than the fact that the cards that you want to call are, from your deck are also you're giving up abilities in certain things. But I'm going to go with Black Forest there. The way the mechanisms, that wheel is just special to me, and I love the puzzle associated with that. I'll go to Pete.
Yeah, I'm going to be on the other side of this. Again, these are very, very close. And, you catch me tomorrow, I might have a different opinion. But when it comes to mechanics, one of the things that I like to look for is that the streamline and how well they go together. And both of these do these really well. But I really like the markets that are available in Great Western Trail. And I like the way that the game also gives you ways to kind of fix some of the things that you're having. You have a bad draw, you can turn in a exchange token and get 2 different cards if you want. So again, very, very close. The mechanics, though, I think the wheel is really amazing the way that it works, but that's probably the biggest thing. Everything else is go here, grab some resources and get those resources, throw it in the wheel and see what happens. So I'm gonna tie this one up. I'm going with Great Western Trail. David, come down on one side or another. Let us know.
Yeah, I think there's a reason why one of these games is the number one seed and the other one isn't. And for me, I'm going to go with Great Western Trail on mechanisms for the rare reason. I think there's a lot of mechanisms in Great Western Trail, but I think it allows you to play different styles. Where at Black Forest, I feel like a lot of times when I'm playing those mechanisms, I'm having to play a similar style as everybody else. Where Great Western Trail, you could take a vastly different route. Somebody could be going after cattle and playing that mechanism, and somebody could be building buildings and trying to shut other people down and what routes they go. And those two mechanisms at the same time flowing very smoothly throughout the game, where both players are playing into those strategies, but they're playing very smoothly and there's not a big difference. You can switch to either one. You can make those decisions very fast. I think speaks to how nice and finely tuned those mechanisms actually are on both sides of that equation. And so therefore I am going to go with Great Western Trail on that one for Max.
All right, so Great Western Trail beats Black Forest in mechanisms. We'll go to value for your time. David, I'm coming back to you.
Whew. It might be recency biased, but for value for my time right now, Great Western Trail is where it's at. It's been hitting my table a lot. I keep wanting to play it. It's in my mind. So I know I haven't played Black Forest in about a year. So it's been a little bit of a while since I played that. When I did play it, I did enjoy it. But for value for my time right now, it's Great Western Trail. If I have a couple hours to play a game, I'm whipping that one out. Sending it over to Chris.
Yeah, this is a tough one as well. But I'm going to go back to, hey, value for your time. That tells me that, hey, if it's going to win value for your time, it has to be taking some of my time. I have to be willing to give it. And Black Forest, I have not been asking to play it, and I have not been looking at prices to see about buying it. Great Western Trail, I have been doing that. That tells me it's got a value for me, and I'm willing to spend my time on it. I'm going to have to go with Great Western Trail as well. Pete, where are you coming down?
Yeah, let's get those cattle going on. Yeah, Great Western Trail. Value for the time, as I said in our other podcast, it's been hitting the table. We can't seem to get enough of it. When I played Black Forest, I enjoyed it, but I didn't have that desire to come back over and over again. And that just speaks to that value. Where do I want to put my time? And Great Western Trail is going to take it for me.
All right, so Great Western Trail sweeps value for your time. We'll go to replayability. I'm going to start this one. Great West. I think there's two things for replayability. How different does each time you play it feel? But also just how often do you want to get it back to the table? I think those are two pieces of replayability that can be different. For Great Western Trail, I feel like it can be samey, whereas in Black Forest, again, those villages can be set up different. They can be changing during the game. But at the same time, I want to play Great Western Trail more. And that's what replayability is about. How many times am I going to play this? I'm going to go with Great Western Trail. I will kick it to Pete.
Yeah, if I was a little worried on what was going to end up winning in this, and I'm feeling a trend now shifting the other way. As far as replayability, I agree with you. There's different setups, but there's also different setups with Great Western Trail that we really didn't talk about. Even though there's like 4 or 5 tiles, those can be randomized at the beginning. And I've played one game from another, and just the way that those tiles come out really affect the game. What gets pulled out, the order that they come out really affects the game. And David, you mentioned it earlier with the replayability in Black Forest. You're doing the same thing. You're trying to build some extra buildings out. And I feel like I'm doing the same thing, even though they're different buildings. So I'm just going to go with Great Western Trail on that. David, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, to me, it's Great Western Trail right now with replayability. I just feel like in games where you're playing sometimes the people. I think there is a variable setup, like Pete had said, like, if the market's way up north and it's the last thing you go to versus, it's the second card you go to, that game's going to play out vastly different. But, just overall, I feel like that game allows me to play the players at the table more. And if you have players that have vastly different strategies, those games are always interesting and it'll always keep it from being the same. Even though you're doing the same things, the people make it a little bit different. Where Black Forest, you could kind of move the tiles and get in people's way. And there's a lot of different replayability as far as the variety that the game provides you, the setup. But for me, it's just Great Western Trail for replayability right now. I just think there's more there. Yeah, that's it.
All right, Great Western Trail sweeps replayability. The herd's getting huge, but we're going to go to fun factor. I will kick it right back to David.
Fun factor for me right now, Great Western Trail. I'm going to ride that wave that's coming with the momentum, but it's just fun. I mean, if I just have to say which one's more fun, I'm going Great Western Trail. I do really like Black Forest, though. I do like the puzzle, but for right now, if I'm just going fun, give me Great Western Trail on the table as of today. Sending it over to Chris.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. Cows are fun. maybe most people don't think so, but cows are fun. But it is kind of fun. Again, just how you gonna work your cows to get there. I enjoy Black Forest. I don't know that I'm having fun. It's a tough puzzle, and you're working your brain to actually say I'm having fun and maybe having some smiling, maybe even laughing moments. It's Great Western Trail for me. Pete, what do we have here?
Yeah, we're sweeping it. Fun factor easily for me is Great Western Trail. Again, both great games, but I just want to get it to the table anytime I can. And Great Western Trail, it just hits that sweet spot. There's some depth of play in Black Forest, and I really do enjoy that. But I got to be in the mood for that. I'm in the mood to play Great Western Trail just about any time, and that's fun for me. Great Western Trail.
All right, so another sweep. Great Western Trail wins fun factor. And guys, that was an utter blowout.
Do we expect less?
Yeah, Great Western Trail 4-1 over Black Forest. Great Western Trail becomes our first game to advance into the Elite Eight, taking out Black Forest. We move on now to our next matchup. These are two games we haven't talked about yet. They're very different from the games we just talked about. These are Res Arcana and Space Base. So Res Arcana is an open drafting hand management race game for 2 to 4 players. It has you using essences, artifacts, and dragons to control ancient monuments and conquer places of power. Its current BGG ranking is 177, and it zapped Veil of Eternity in episode 59 to make this year's tournament. Space Base is a dice rolling mini engine builder for 2 to 5 players or more, depending on what version you have, and you assume the role of a Commodore in charge of a small fleet of ships vying to be promoted to Admiral. Its current BGG ranking is 223, and it defeated Valeria Card Kingdoms in episode 83 to get here. Theme and production, Res Arcana versus Space Base. Pete, I'll start with you.
All right. Well, this game, these two, again, a little bit different than the last ones that we were talking about. For me, theme and production, the production value in Res Arcana is beautiful. I really like it. We also talked about some of the production challenges that we had in Space Base with the skinny cards and things like that. So I'm going to go with Res Arcana for theme and production. Again, they're both race games as far as it is, getting up to 10 or 13 with Res Arcana and Space Base getting up to 40. So essentially they're the same, but the theme comes together a little bit more for me with Res Arcana. Let's go over to Chris.
Yeah, I'm just going to fall right in line. The skinny cards, the fonts on Space Base, I think that's a production problem. Both of the themes are overused and tired out. The resources also in Res Arcana, they're nice resources. They're nothing super special, but there's a lot of them you get to manage those. I'm going with Res Arcana as well. David, are you with us or are you going to Space? I'm
going to Space this time, even though I don't think that the production quality necessarily on Space Base is the best. When I'm just looking at themes, when I'm looking at the box art right now, I just like Space. I think the box art is fun. If I'm just looking at the very front covers, and sometimes that's what it comes down to for me to even pick a game up off the shelf. I'm picking Space Base. That's what actually drew me in to buy the game in the first place. I looked at it, I was like, this looks sweet. I'm just going to buy this one. And Res Arcana looks a little dated. So not saying it's a bad game, but looks a little dated on the cover. So maybe needs a refresh. But anyways, I'm going with Space Base, but it doesn't matter.
It does not matter, David. Res Arcana wins theme and production 2-1 to take an early lead. We go to mechanisms. I'm going to start on this one. There are a couple of things that come to mind here. For Space Base, I like the mechanism where if you're going to buy a card, if that card costs $2 and you got $10, tough. Guess what you're paying for it? You're paying $10 for it. right? And so then you got to work your other pieces there. You spend all your money, and then whatever your economy is, that's what you come back to. That's a weird little mechanism, and I like it. It really tempts your decisions. It's very different from a two-player game up to a 6 or 7 player game, depending which version you're going. The gameplay is different. I like that as well. And then Res Arcana, it seems very repetitive, and it can also, you can find yourself in a hole where halfway through the game, because of the way some of these mechanisms work, you're just biding your time. You already know who's going to win because someone's got a power going. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm going with space base on mechanisms. I'll kick it back to David.
Ooh, so this one, when I think about the mechanisms, kind of like you, George, is saying, Chris, I think you did a great job of that. Res Arcana, when I think I reviewed it the first time, I just felt that it was very constraining. You're dealt a deck of cards, you do a little draft, but if you get the wrong stuff, it could just be bad for you. I mean, you're wasting there for an hour just getting wailed on by somebody else who has a little bit better card play in there. And so for that reason, I feel like Space Base, I like it. I think there's way more to maneuver. Kind of like that everybody halfway through the game is shouting for different numbers to come out because you've built up an engine. So when other people are rolling, you're hoping for other numbers as well. So it kind of gives you that, if you've ever been to a crap show, it kind of gives you that little feel where everybody's kind of rooting for different numbers to come out for the roller to shoot the dice down the table. And I just find that to be fun and implemented in that way. So for me, Space Base, I'm going to kick it over to Pete.
Yeah, this is going to be space based for me too. The mechanics with the you roll and everybody gets a little something if they hit the dice. That's great. The tableau building and you said it's a very tight economy. You're playing with a deck of 10 cards, and hopefully if you draft right, you're going to do better. But man, it's just so rough and so tight, and that's one of the reasons why I did get rid of the game, David. I know you picked it up off of me. And I played that a lot over COVID. I ended up playing the game a lot because we were able to get a game in 30 minutes at lunchtime. And maybe I just played it too much, but for mechanics, I'm just going to go with the space base with just how clean it works. And, that's it.
All right, so space base sweeps mechanisms, orbits into a tie with Res Arcana. We're going to go on to value for your time. Right back to Pete.
Yeah, let's just stick on the space base for some of the same reasons that I just made the comment before. The time is pretty close if we're looking at it. I think both of the games are going to be about an hour. But the value that I get with other people and that camaraderie, as we talk about, just that some of the cheering moments, hoping for things, just a little bit more value for me. David?
Yeah, I'm just gonna make it simple. I'm going Space Base. They both played around an hour both ways. Res Arcana can drag for me at that last half of the game. Doesn't mean Space Base can't, but at least I'm having fun cheering for dice rolls, so I'm going with that. Kicking it over to Chris.
I'm just going to agree with everything you guys said, especially at the end there, David. You said that Res Arcana seems like that second half can drag. Space Base, as you get to that second half, that's when it's okay. Now everybody's chasing after points, and it ramps up, and now it's a race. I like that. I would spend my time playing Space Base easily over Res Arcana. Space Base sweeps another one to take a lead. We go to replayability. Back to David.
Replayability for me right now, sometimes it just comes to, do I want to play it again? Space Base, the answer is yes. Res Arcana, I've seen a lot of it. I got like 8 plays. I think I've seen too much. So I'm going to go with Space Base on this one just because I actually want to play it more. Kicking it over to Pete.
Yeah, replayability when it comes to Res Arcana, it can get boring or it gets the samey real fast. You need those expansions, and I did pick them up, and that still didn't really even give it to me. You're playing with 10 cards and you're just so constrained. Space Base, as far as the replayability, you're going to have fun with, as we talk about how easy is it going to hit to the table. That's part of the replayability too. So Space Base for me. Chris? You could fall in line.
Yeah, and I'm not even going to say anything. You guys said everything I would want to. I think this one is obvious. It's Space Base for me. Another sweep. 9 votes in a row for Space Base, 3 sweeps. We go to Fun Factor. I'm going to make it 10 in a row. I really enjoyed playing Space Base. We've kind of alluded to it already where people are yelling out, I need a 4, or something like that. Those are fun moments. I don't recall those in Res Arcana, obviously, or honestly, I recall being a little bit frustrated at times as opposed to having that fun. It's Space Base for me. I'll go to Pete.
11 in a row. Space Base. David.
Let's just make it 12. Easy said. Space Base for me.
All right. So Space Base wins the Fun Factor and just blows Res Arcana out of space. 4-1 victory. Space Base beats Res Arcana to move on in our Meeple Madness tournament. We move on to our next matchup. This is a pretty good matchup here, and I think this is one where sometimes you get some weird matchups and sometimes you get some really good ones. And this is going to be a really good one here. This is our 5 seed Darwin's Journey against our 12 seed Apiary. Apiary is a 1 to 5 player worker and tile placement game where you control a unique faction of spacefaring bees attempting to thrive in the final frontier. Its BGG ranking right now is 315, and it outworked Honeybuzz in episode 77 to make the tournament. Darwin's Journey is a 1 to 4 player worker placement game that models itself after Charles Darwin's adventures through the Galapagos Islands, developing his theory of evolution. Its current BGG ranking is 87, a top 100 game, and it outlasted Carnegie, one of Pete's favorite games, actually number 1 in a recent episode, in episode 85 to make the tournaments. Darwin's Journey and Apiary, I think similar games, worker placements. This is a good matchup. I think I know who's going to win, but we'll find out. We'll start with theme and production. We have historical and Galapagos Islands against spacefaring bees. David, where are you at?
I like the fantasy theme. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm gonna kind of go with apiary, but I also think the production value is pretty high in this game. I like the player pieces that you get. The bees are pretty substantial. I mean, it is a Stonemeyer game. I do they do a really good job on production. It just speaks to me more. I was never necessarily a Darwin Journey kind of thing growing up. It never really played into my thinking. So you know me, I like space, so space bees it is. Apiary for me. Kicking it over to Pete.
Yeah, I said it before, and I'll say it again, and I'll take all the heat. Bees in space is a dumb theme. You could have picked a whole lot of better stuff for that. The production value is, I will agree, is neat, and I do like it is a unique theme, but the theme and production. The theme with Darwin's Journey really comes through, especially the way that the cards are used in that, and exploring the map as a whole. I really can't wait to try some of the expansions on that. So theme and production, I'm going to give this one to Darwin's Journey. Chris, you get to make some decisions here. Who's right? Who's wrong?
Well, it's not a matter of right and wrong.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I absolutely love Darwin's Journey, and I absolutely love the theme. I am the science guy. When you can take a science theme and blend it in and work it well with the mechanisms that make sense, I love that. Now, at the same time, Pete, you mentioned apiary and bees in space. What are you doing? I agree. It's dumb and it works. It's like, yes, it's a dumb theme. Who would ever do that? But yet somehow it works. And so I got to give it that. I'm going to have to break the tie with production. And you've got these really nice bees. You've got the mothership or the queen ship, whatever we call it, floating around. Can't believe I'm going to do it, but staying honest to the categories, I've got to give it to apiary, which means apiary takes theme and production and takes a lead against Darwin's Journey. We go to mechanisms. I'm going to start this one just to make myself feel a little better, although I may talk myself out of it anyway. There's a mechanism in apiary where you're bumping bees off, maybe even bumping your own bee, and there is a benefit to doing that. Your bees can age out and hibernate. That's a really cool mechanism. At the same time, Darwin's Journey, I think, does a really good job. Yeah, it's worker placement, but there are plenty of games where you've got worker placement on one side and you're working up explorer tracks. I think it does it really well, and you're gaining things in the explorer tracks that you bring back into the main board. Darwin's Journey, if I owned it, would probably be in my top 5 games, maybe all the way at the top right now. It's because of the way I think the mechanisms work so well. I'm going with Darwin's Journey, but I'm going to kick it to David to see what he thinks.
I do like Darwin's Journey for all the reasons why you said. I think the mechanisms are good in that, but I think the mechanisms are just a little bit different in apiary, and I think they have a good little twist on them that I haven't seen done before, especially when it kind of comes to worker placement. And sometimes you're bumping off other people's bees. You're kind of beneficial. You're both benefiting on how that happens because they're using your number. If Pete puts a 2 out there, if I put a 3, now it's a 5. And then I'm knocking off Dave's bee, so he's happy because he gets his bee to come back to him. I haven't seen that in quite that way. Normally worker placement is mean, and it's not supposed to be helping somebody else out. And for apiary to make it kind of co-op a little bit, like mutually beneficial when we put stuff together. Sometimes I want you to put a nice 4 be there so I could put a 4 so I have an 8 value. I think that it does something. And I also do like the mini games a little bit on that. Darwin's Journey, though, everything's integrated very nicely, so it's very difficult. But at the end of the day, I'm going with the bees again. So space bees it is, just by a hair though, just by a hair. Or a ween, I should say ween. Okay, kicking it over to Pete.
So before you make your decision, this isn't me trying to influence you, Pete. I would never ever do that. But I forgot to mention a couple of things about the mechanisms that really put it over the top for me for Darwin's Journey. The first thing is the seals and the way each meeple has its own. You're getting abilities, but those abilities are tied to a specific meeple. You've got to work that right. I think that's a brilliant mechanism, and it works really, really well. And then the way you're opening up more and more spots to yourself as you get those seals, and there's mechanisms even to add the. It's brilliant, Pete. Why are you even waiting? Just cut me off. Say that the mechanisms are brilliant in Darwin's Journey, and let's be done with it.
You stole my thunder, and that's I am going to go with Darwin's Journey on this with the mechanisms. And you're absolutely right. One of the reasons why the game won for me over one of my favorite games is because of the mechanisms were really solid with Darwin's Journey. I think they tie in really well. I understand how those mechanisms work together, those worker spots that you'd mentioned. Yeah, you took my thunder on that. Mechanisms, it's Darwin's Journey every day.
All right, so Darwin's Journey evens it up with a 2-to-1 win, and mechanisms it's 1-to-1 between these games. We go to value for your time. I'll go right back to Pete.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Darwin's Journey for value for my time. I played a lot of these online, a lot solo, both of these, and with some of you guys online too. And the one that I felt I kept coming back to that just gave me that extra value was Darwin's Journey. So I'm just gonna stop right there. David.
I'm gonna have to take the opposite road again on this one. Value for my time. I was looking at just playthrough times. It's about 2.5 hours for Darwin's Journey. Apiary, it's about an hour and 10 minutes. I was surprised to see that. I thought Apiary actually was a little bit longer of a game than that. But when I look at it, I will go with Apiary. I do think it plays faster. I get some of the same feels that I get. When I'm just looking for how does the game feel, they both feel really good. But again, that 2-hour category, am I picking Darwin's Journey when I feel like I have some other games I would pick over it, where Apiary, an hour and 10 for a crunchy Euro, that's tough for me to get in that time wise. So Apiary it is, probably won't matter, but I'm going to send it over to Chris.
It won't matter because it's 2 hours, maybe even 2.5 for Darwin's Journey. It's 2.5 great hours. I think it's awesome value for your time. Apiary, it was an interesting slide for me to where at first Apiary, the first time I played it, I wasn't a big fan. The more I played it, the more I liked it. And I think the faster it got as we played it, we knew what we were doing. We could really whiz through that. But then it got kind of stale. And Darwin's Journey, I don't know. I just think it's so brilliantly designed. I would spend as much of my time as I could playing Darwin's Journey. It's going to take it for me, which means it takes value for your time. We move on to replayability. David, you have voted 3 times for the bees. What say you on replayability?
When it comes to replayability, I'm just looking at the game as a whole. And so for those reasons, I will pick Darwin's Journey on this one. I think there's a lot more there as far as what it has to offer, the depth and the ranges that it has to offer. Right now, I have played Apiary quite a bit, and I haven't quite, I feel like, tapped Darwin's Journey as much as I would like to. So for me right now, as far as what I want to play, it's probably Darwin's Journey as far as getting into the table. I'm going to kick it over, though, to Pete.
These are tough. There's 2 sides to this. Again, how quick are we going to get a table with replayability, and then the depth of that play? I'm going to go with Apiary on replayability. Number one, because as you mentioned, I feel like I'm playing the players a little bit more. There's a little bit more interaction. Things that the cards that come out can be strictly, way different. Your starting hive that you have is different, and it's a different challenge every time. With Darwin's Journey, I know where that's going to end up, the path. And yes, there's exploration through there, but I just feel there's more in Apiary. Chris, what's your thoughts?
My thoughts are you're crazy. Replayability for me, I agree Apiary, it has those hives and also different tiles that are going to come out, give you that replayability. Still starts to feel samey to me. Darwin's Journey, while you might be following a similar arc, those round end bonuses, to me, the way those come out are going to make it for a very different game. And depending on what's sitting where, I'm going to follow a different path. That's enough for me to keep on bringing me back. It's Darwin's Journey for me. I'm starting to get in a groove. Darwin's Journey takes replayability. We go to the fun factor. I'll go right back to Pete.
Fun factor to me, I'm just going to go with Darwin's Journey. I just enjoy playing that game. And I think part of it is the theme. I just can't buy into bees in space. And Darwin's Journey, fun brings all of those different components. The theme and the production, the mechanics, it's just done so well for me. Darwin's Journey, I enjoy the game. That's what I'm sticking with. Let's go to David.
Yeah, so I'll make this a decision for Chris. Fun factor for me, I will pick apiary. I much just like bees in space. I don't like bees in real life, but I like them in space, I guess. Maybe they don't have stingers. Maybe that's why I like them. But, just the interaction that I have with other players on that board, where I play Darwin's Journey, there is player interaction. There's stuff that you can do, but I feel like I am playing a little bit of solo game. For the most part, I'm trying to be efficient as possible with my moves and trying to figure that out, which is a great puzzle. But with apiary, I just feel like there's more things I could do to mess with other players, which I tend to like a little bit more, and it's a little bit more fun for me. So for those reasons, I'm going to pick apiary for my fun factor. Kicking it over to Chris.
Yeah, neither one of these are making me smile, laugh, have those type of, super haha fun factors, but I enjoy them both. Darwin's Journey by far I enjoy more. I think there's more ways to be clever in Darwin's Journey, more opportunities to find those combinations that allow you to really kick something off. That's fun for me. It's Darwin's Journey taking fun factor and displaying the survival of the fittest. Darwin's Journey will take out apiary, killing those space bees, and moving on in our Meeple Madness tournament. I mentioned that the last matchup it's two very similar games. This should be an interesting one. These next two could not be more different, I think. We have Tzolk'in, the Mayan calendar, which is the 4 seed, against the 13 seed Flip 7. Tzolk'in, the Mayan calendar, it's a 2 to 4 player worker placement game. Actually, it's a worker placement and retrieval game where you lead your tribe in an attempt to please the gods. It's ranked at 71, and it sailed past Keyflower in episode 43 in a righteous win to win a spot in Meeple Madness. It's going up against Flip 7. Very similar, right? It's a push your luck card game for 3 or more players. It proclaims itself to be the greatest card game of all time. Its current BGG ranking is 536. That's the BGG bias. And it toppled Ink and Gold in episode 55 to make the tournament. Tzolk'in, the Mayan calendar against Flip 7. They couldn't be more different. That being said, I think this first category is going to be pretty obvious. Theme and production. I'll start with Pete.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious for me. Token is going to win it. There is no theme, and quite honestly, the production value of the cards that I've been playing, we play it a lot at work. The cards get played out a little bit. And yeah, we're just flipping them and shuffling them, so it's not like it's a deck builder we're going over and over again, but they get worn out. So we're going to go with Token for me. Let's go to David.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep it easy. I'm also going for the same theme Pete just said. To me, I'm not sure what the theme of Flip 7 is. I don't think it has one, but that doesn't mean you can't be a good game. That being said, though, I'm still going with Tzolk'in. Kicking over to Chris.
This is a tough category for Flip 7 because, yeah, of course it doesn't have a theme. This kind of game doesn't have a theme. But then I think you point out some things, Pete, that, hey, okay, well, then how's the production? It's a deck of cards, and it sounds like the cards don't necessarily hold up. I'm going to go with Tzolk'in as well. I think it's a pretty good theme. And the production is pretty cool too. I mean, there's some really cool aspects of Tzolk'in. Again, you're kind of comparing apples to oranges here, but that's what we do. It's a whole fruit salad. Tzolk'in takes theme and production in a blowout against Flip 7. We move on to mechanisms. Both mechanisms very different for these games, but that doesn't mean that they can't compete. I will start with David.
Yeah, so with mechanism this, I mean, Tzolk'in has this timing aspect that they're going around these wheels and your workers are getting drawn back. On Flip 7, it's just don't hit the same number. Keep coming, push your luck, don't hit the same number, don't bust. You would think I would pick Tzolk'in because I like heavier games, but I'm not. I'm picking Flip 7. I actually don't really like the mechanism in Tzolk'in. I know why other people do. I get frustrated with it. So to me, it's a puzzle that my brain does not like to solve. For that mechanism, even though I think it is a good one, it's just not one that I enjoy or like. So for that reason, Flip 7, I just had more fun with the push your luck. I know it's stupid, but I wish I would have thought of this game first. So anyways, Flip 7, kicking it over to Chris.
I do not like push your luck games. Flip 7 is another one of those games where it takes a mechanism that I don't like and it puts it into a game that I will play anytime you absolutely want to play it. I think there's something to be said about that. That being said, the mechanisms in Tzolk'in, I corrected myself as I was reading the description. It's not just a worker placement, it's a worker retrieval. And that's when it happens. That's when you get your benefit. And then you've got these gears that are moving in different ways, moving themselves around there. It's a tough puzzle, but I love. I think it's brilliant, that mechanism. It doesn't mean it's going to bring me back and saying I want to play this every day, but I think it's really brilliant mechanism, and I like the way it's put together. I like trying to solve that puzzle. I'm going with Zolkin, and I'm going to go to Pete to break our tie.
Yeah, I'm going to back you up on that one, Chris. The way that those wheels work in that time just is amazing. And it really is. And you're trying to decide when are you pulling back, and that's where part of that game is. And as far as mechanisms with Flip 7, it's a great. It's push your luck. When do I want to stop? But that's it. You know, and there's other things too. You got to feed your people with you know, the Mayans. You need that maize or corn or whatever it is. So I'm just going to go with Zolkin, and I think we got that category nailed down.
You know, in Agricola, you have to feed your people too, but you don't like that game. No, I'm just messing
Yeah,
with you. Just
Yeah, Agricola didn't make it.
yeah.
All
I
right,
know,
there's
that's
no
a
reason.
shame. I like
Yeah.
Agricola. Anyways, okay.
So, all right, so Sulkin beats Flip 7 in mechanisms. We go to value for your time. I will start this one. Sulkin can be a long game. Flip 7, obviously, not a long game. It's longer than what you might think, though, when you get it out. But that being said, I like the way David often does these. Hey, if I'm going to play a 30-minute quick game or I'm going to play a 2-hour game, which one am I pulling out in that case? Or am I pulling this game out? For me, it's Flip 7. I enjoy Flip 7 from the time you start it till the time it's done. It's a simple game, relatively quick, but I'll spend my time playing Flip 7 anytime somebody wants to if I have that time available. Flip 7 for me, I go to Pete.
Yeah, I agree. The value there's a lot of laughing going on. And when we talk about value, there's a lot of different aspects of what brings value to the game. And, you know, I like to say this is one that we play at lunchtime quite a bit. And it hits the table and people are always asking for it. So but to be able to bring it to the table and have people come back for it is really the value. So, David, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, we're gonna sweep this one. I'm going Flip 7 on value for my time. Just for all the reasons that you guys said as well.
All right, so Flip 7 in a sweep of value for your time. We go on to replayability. I will kick it right back to David.
I was just going through my BG stats about how many times I've played each game. It's quite ridiculous, actually, for Flip 7. I kind of already told you I don't really like the puzzle in Zolkin. I think it's a good puzzle, just not the way my brain thinks. And I get frustrated with that one. So for replayability, I'm going with Flip 7, just because I'll actually play that one and get it out to the table. I'm going to kick it over to Pete.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. You know, replayability, how often it's going to come out. We play this a lot and it's a different game every time. We're doing the same thing, but man, it can be so different just what comes out. And replayability, I'm just going to go with Flip 7. Chris, prove me wrong.
We say replayability has often we'll say it has two pieces. How often do I get it out? How different does it feel? Flip 7, it's going to come out more often. It's going to feel the same every single time. I'm actually going to go with Zolkin. I think there's different pieces there. You go with different pathways. It's a different game, even though I could make a very strong case for Flip 7. I don't know why I'm still talking. It doesn't matter. Flip 7 takes replayability. And, it's got a 2-2 tie here with Flip 7 against Zolkin. And we're doing our Meeple Madness tournament. In March Madness, typically in a game like this, you would have the underdog giving it a run, and people can kind of feel the way it's going. The crowd's on its feet, chanting in favor of Flip 7 in this case. I feel like maybe we're on the cusp of a crazy win here for one of our games. We go to the fun factor. I'm not starting. I'll go to David.
Well, you know where my vote's going. Fun factor at the table, those enjoyable moments that you have with people, those standout moments. When I first played this game, I think it's coming less so just because I played it so much. But when I first brought this game to a lot of different people, look in people's eyes or like the fun around the table brought something to people. I still think it does. It's just a lot of people have seen this game now. But for those who are experiencing for the first time, there is something magical about playing with them the first time. That fun factor is normally really high. So for me, fun factor, I mean, Soulkit might be fun in some ways. I don't know. I mean, it's a very brain burnery puzzle. People might have fun with that, but I'm going to Flip 7. The energy in the room is it's just hard to contain. Got a lot of good memories there. Kicking it over to Pete.
Man, we might be getting a little upset here. Again, we talk about fun. And my group of people at work that we play at lunch, they really do have fun playing this. And I have to take that into account. But the question is it fun for me?
Yeah, exactly.
And lately, I'm going to say, I've been busting all the time. And that's not fun. Man, I'm going to go with Zolkin. Maybe putting some heat on Chris here, but When it comes to playing games, I'm gonna think a little bit about if I go to a game night and they're playing Flip 7 or I have an opportunity to play Zolkin, I think I wanna play Zolkin over it just because I think I played it too much. So that's what I'm going with. Chris?
You know why you played it too much, Pete? Because it's a darn fun. That's why you played it so much. I don't think this is even close. I would not describe Zolkin as fun. It's brain burnery. It might be enjoyable, but the reality is, I think about our plays of it, and nobody was after we're done with Zolkin. Nobody was saying, "Man, we gotta play this." At Friday we got to play it. It didn't really hit for us. Flip 7, I have yet to put this on the table and not have every single person around the table having fun. Even when someone busts, I can see someone bust 3 times in a row, and it's just funny that they busted again. Someone will get a 3 in front of them, like, well, of course I'll take another card, and somehow that other 3 comes out. I've had my son, who is a heavier gamer. He loves it. And I've got my brother-in-law who doesn't play games at all. He's like, yeah, let's get that game out. It's fun for everybody. It's Flip 7 for me. We may have just destroyed the podcast. Flip 7 defeats Sulkin, the Mayan calendar, to move on in our Meeple Madness tournament. That's why it's madness. You don't know what's going to happen. You compare 2 very different games against each other. You don't really know where it's going to fall. But in this case, Flip 7.
There is a new Vengeance mode coming out. Did you see that, Pete?
I
You might have to
did,
get the new
yeah.
Vengeance. Yeah, maybe I heard there's oh wait, what's the highest number right now? Is it
13 cards. There's there's some that one's gonna be
crazy.
mean. I looked at the cards. They're gonna be mean.
All right, well, this may be our longest episode yet. We have 4 more battles to go. But we're in the bottom half of our bracket here in the Sweet 16. We have our number 6 seed, Endeavor Deep Sea, against our number 11 seed, Century Golem Edition. Endeavor Deep Sea is a nautically themed action point and retrieval game where you work to have the most beneficial effect on the world's oceans. Its BGG ranking is 101, and it sank Endeavor Age of Sail in episode 65 to get here. Century Golem Edition is a 2 to 5 player card drafting, deck building, and hand management game set in the world of Carvania, where you travel the Golem Road to deliver crystals to the far reaches of the world. Its current BGG ranking is number 277, and it pounded Canvas in episode 63 to get here. 2 very different games here, guys, Endeavor Deep Sea and Century Golem Edition, so we've got another interesting one, but we will kick it off with theme and production. I'm not starting. Let's go to David.
So theme and production on this one, even though Century Golem's got some nice looking gems and it will attract a lot of people for those player pieces, I'm going with Endeavor Deep Sea. I have the deluxeified version, so I'm not quite sure what the basic version has, but the production level and thought they put into, I feel like everything that goes with Endeavor Deep Sea and the pieces and just how it's integrated with the player mats and everything, especially with the cards as you go deeper in the sea. They start to get darker, and just the thematic touches that they put on this game. To me, it's Endeavor Deep Sea. It's not even kind of in the same ball field for me. So kicking it over to Pete.
Yeah, I agree with you. The theme on that just carries it all the way. Production value with the version you have is fantastic. It just blows away Century for me. Chris?
Yeah, I think the theme of Centuries, I'll call it silly. It's not super strong. Endeavor Deep Sea, it really incorporates that theme with respect to even not just how deep you can go and building up your crew, but even there's like, I just think of that one cut tile where it's a caves tile, and you have to come into different areas from different directions in order to be able to get into those caves. It works really well. It's Endeavor Deep Sea for me. So Endeavor Deep Sea sweeps theme and production. We go to mechanisms. I'll come back to Pete.
Yeah, mechanisms. Deep Sea really has it. I like the co-op part of it, where if you do the 2 parts and they make the connection, you both get something. I really like that. Just going down into the depths, really, it's so well done with the movement on it, the player boards and the actions. I just really like it. Mechanics on Century, you're just swapping one crystal for another, and that doesn't do much for me, even with the coins. David?
I'll go with Endeavor Deep Sea as well. I like the action selection mechanism in that one. I like the different tracks you have to race up and what you're prioritizing, because sometimes you can't go up everything. What are you going to prioritize early in the game to kind of build your engine? People could go different ways, and kind of how they approach that game and that puzzle. Century Golem, it's great for beginners. For people that want to get into the hobby that haven't seen a modern board game, I think the easy mechanism of taking stuff, buying it, building up a little deck, exchanging out gems, buying some golems with it, and getting points. I think what it does really well. It just gets beat by Deep Sea. I don't know. It's my number 4 of all time, so I can't really really say much. Going over to Chris.
Yeah, I'm going with Endeavor Deep Sea as well. I agree that Century does what it does well, but it's also very basic and it's stuff that you can get from a lot of different games. Endeavor Deep Sea works its mechanisms brilliantly. Every one of them is really refined. There's multiple different things going on, all of which work well. And I like what you mentioned, Pete, with respect to it's not a co-op game, even if you're playing the competitive version, but you got two different sides, and it's actually beneficial to you, or it's not, you don't get any better benefit if you have both sides of those connections than if you just have one. And hey, if you can go somewhere else and entice someone else to help you out, I think that's brilliant too. It's Endeavor Deep Sea for me. 6 votes so far for Endeavor Deep Sea. It takes a 2-0 lead. We go to value for your time. I will make it 7 votes. I think Endeavor Deep Sea is it for me. Certainly it's a longer game than Century Golem, but I just think for what you get for Endeavor Deep Sea, this is a game where for the amount of time it's going to take, you're getting a really, really good experience. And I think a much better experience to time ratio than what you're getting for Century Golem. It's Endeavor Deep Sea for me. I will go back to David.
Yeah, to me, for value for my time, even though Century Golem is shorter, Endeavor Deep Sea, the fact that when I teach this game, I'm normally teaching and playing at the same time. There's not a lot of games that can be said that do this, but I'm literally teaching as we're going because that's how the flow and the pace go. And so that's the way we were taught it back at Origins from the company. And I was like, wow, this is brilliant. You actually are playing while you're still learning, and they don't have to know necessarily everything else, but that value for time gets even greater because I don't have to do a 30-minute teach. We're literally playing and getting into the game as we're moving along. And so I just like that. I think that's a really unique concept as well. I wish more games did that, but value for my time, Endeavor all the way. I never have a slow moment in that game. It doesn't feel long to me. Kicking it over to Pete.
Yeah, just sweep it. I don't want to add much to it. Value for my time. I would rather play Endeavor than Century.
I did not see this coming for you, Pete, because I know that you had some interesting experience with Endeavor Deep Sea, but it doesn't matter. 9 votes to nothing so far. Endeavor Deep Sea takes value for your time. We go to replayability. Just to remind everybody, the other game in this category is Century Golem. It's up against Endeavor Deep Sea. We go to replayability. Pete.
Yeah, again, this is a slam dunk. It's just getting crushed. We're going to go with Endeavor Deep Sea. I love the way that the board gets explored. It's different each time. There's different types of things that you can do with the game, goals when you're actually setting it up, which change it up. Yeah, just replayability. I'm doing the same thing and I'm switching one gem for another, and that just doesn't do anything for me. Yeah, Endeavor. Chris.
I'll save us some time. Ditto. Endeavor. David.
Yeah, I will say the same thing, but for one different reason. I think you can play the game competitive. You can play it also. They have co-op, and then they have like 12 different missions that you can play on. And I just think that that's incredible value for money right there. So anyways, Endeavor.
All right, so Endeavor Deep Sea sweeps another one. It's 4-0 over Century Golem. We go to Fun Factor. Right back to David.
Yeah, Endeavor Deep Sea. I just have a ton of fun playing it. I can't wait to see what tiles are going to come up, what choices I get to make. Am I going to see a whale graveyard at the bottom of the ocean or not? Can we even get to the bottom of the ocean in some games? That exploration is just done very well. There was a time and place for Century Golem where I had fun. Don't slalom past that place. So if my wife was here, she might have a different opinion. But anyways, she's not. So Endeavor for me. Kind of kick it over to Pete.
Yeah, I never really had fun playing Century. I did have a bad experience with Deep Sea Endeavor, but I do think that there's a lot of fun in that game. I just didn't get to experience all of the fun that's there. So hopefully we get it back to the table and I get to play. Chris.
Yeah, I think there is fun in Century Golem. Just to be clear, it can be a fun game, but as we talked about, it's very samey. The fun factor for me is Endeavor Deep Sea. There's a lot of opportunities to be clever. The theme helps with the fun factor for me, where it actually feels like you're doing certain things. The exploring piece is just fun in general. It's Endeavor Deep Sea for me. If you're watching March Madness in between our episodes when you don't have anything else to do because you've already listened to our episode, you're never going to see a 15-0 blowout in March Madness. But you just saw one here in Meeple Madness. Endeavor Deep Sea sinks Century Golem 5-0 in categories, 15-0 in votes to move on in our tournament. We go to our next matchup. It's Everdell sitting at number 3 against Shackleton Base, number 14. This should be an interesting one, I think. Shackleton Base is a 1 to 4 player worker placement game where you lead a space agency laboring to expand your presence on the moon. Its current BGG ranking is 575 and it blasted SETI in episode 69 to make the tournament. Everdell is a 1 to 4 player worker placement and hand management game set under the shelter of the enduring Evertree. Its current BGG ranking is 43. It's a top 50 game and it beat out Wondrous Creatures in episode 61 to make our Meeple Madness tournament. Everdell versus Shackleton Base. We'll start with theme and production again. Pete, what do you got?
This is going to be a tough one here, but I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet. The theme and production on both of these are fantastic, but I'm just going to go with Shackleton Base. I think the way that they pull off the theme and the workers and the production of those workers and the board is just fantastic. And again, the production in Everdell is fantastic too. This is really a toss up, and it really comes down to what today is, and it's a even day or odd day. So that's what I'm picking. Real close though. We're gonna let David and Chris decide what it is. Go ahead, David.
I don't agree with Pete all the time, but in this case, I'm going to agree with him because Everdell might have started the trend with anthropomorphic animals, but Shackleton Base is just, there's a reason why we should go there again to the moon. So anyways, Shackleton Base, for me, it's close, but I don't know. It's space. I like space, so I'm always voting space. Anyways, moving over to Chris.
Yeah, these are very close for me as well. Shackleton Base is a game that I really, really like, but concentrating on theme and production, I think the production of Shackleton Base is solid. Those astronaut meeples are really good, and the theme, it's a space theme, going to the moon, setting up colonies. I love that theme. Everdell, though, has a pretty cool theme too, and again, maybe it was one of the originals, but it works so well in that when you're looking at the different critters and building their homes, how you're enticing them in, what materials that you might have to use to build that. I think that works really well. But also the production, those little bits, the resources that you have, Everdell takes that for me, even in the base version of Everdell. Not necessarily in the newer versions of Everdell, but in the original version of Everdell, you've got really, really good resources. That production knocks it over the top. It's Everdell for me. Doesn't matter. Shackleton Base beats it out in theme and production. To take the first category, we go to mechanisms. I'm going to start that one, and I'm going to go with Shackleton Base in this case. I love the meeples. They are yours until you put them on the board, but you may be taking your meeple, putting them out there, and then someone else is going to ultimately get that. And figuring out the right way to manipulate those mechanisms, not only at the time you put it out there, but the board may change. In the meantime, you may be the one trying to change it, trying to predict what other people are going to do. I love that mechanism, the way that you can always go get a certain action with your meeple in the one area, but if you put the blue meeple there, you get the extra action. All of that stuff is brilliant. Blows away Everdell for me. I'm going with Shackleton Base, and I will kick it to Pete.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you, Shackleton Base. There's a little bit more depth of the game when it comes to those decisions that you have. Where do you want to put those workers? Do you want to put them in, particular buildings and that? As much as I like the tableau building of Everdell and the way that as you mentioned, some of the cards work together, you have a particular building, you can get the person, in there for free, works really great. That's really the extent of it. And, resource management and resource gathering, you're doing that with Shackleton Base too. There's just a little bit more depth of it play. David, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna sweep this one for Shackleton. It is close, but Shackleton Base, the way that you get those meals back, the astronauts that you get, even like the round marker, where do you want to start with? What choice are you making? Because it determines player orders and stuff like that with the shuttles coming in every round, and which one are you grabbing? But the fact that on the area control map, the do area control in a way that I normally don't like area control games, but to do it in the way that it does it here, it just sings to me. I think it does it in a way that if you like worker placement, but sometimes you don't like area control games, I think this one does it right, and I'm surprised by that. I think it's one of the reasons why this game is so high on my list is because you have that interaction done, I feel like, in the right way, at least from how my brain thinks. So anyways, easy Shackleton Base on this one for me.
All right, so Shackleton Base sweeps mechanisms to take a 2-0 lead in categories. We go to value for your time. I will go back to David.
Yeah, so I'm trying to look at my plays. I think they play both around the same amount of time. So I think when both games are even in the playthroughs, that it just comes down to which one do I want to sit at. There's a table. Which one am I getting more value at, especially when everything else is the same? I'm leaning Shackleton Base right now and probably in the future, but Shackleton Base for me, value for my time. Kicking it over to Pete.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Everdell on this one. Playing both, I feel that I just get a little bit more value. It's a cleaner game. We talk about there's a lot of complexity in the other game. There's a lot of tracks you got to look at. Whereas when I'm playing Everdell, I can really kind of focus and build out that tableau. And that value there for me, I don't need all these different mechanics to give me a great time. So that's what I'm going to lean towards with my value for my time on this one is going to be Everdell. Chris, your thoughts?
Yeah, I was surprised to hear David say that the playing time for his plays were the same. I feel like Everdell, we can knock that out in an hour if we're really going after it. Shackleton Base was a lot longer. That being said, I would rather spend my time playing Shackleton Base, and I think it's worth the extra time. If you said, hey, we can play one of these, but even if you told me Shackleton Base is going to take twice as long, that's the one I'm playing. So I'm going with Shackleton Base, which means it's going to take value for your time as well. We go to replayability. I'll go back to Pete.
Yeah, this one's pretty easy. Shackleton Base, you have different, what are they called? The
Corporations?
corporate. Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
Good.
Yeah, Shackleton Base has the different corporations that you can play. You can play different ones. There's different scenarios that also come out with that, and every game's going to feel a little bit different with that. With Everdell, I know what I'm getting. I might get different cards, but I know that that game is going to be fairly the same. The replayability is really what cards come out, but I'm doing the same thing. Shackleton Base for me. Let's go to Chris.
It's Shackleton Base for me as well. Everdell gets pretty samey for me relatively quickly. I still enjoy playing it, but I feel like it is kind of the same game over and over again, even with the different cards that may come out. Shackleton Base, you got so many combinations of those corporations, and depending on how someone makes a move, it can be a totally different game. Shackleton Base for me. David, are we sweeping this one?
Yeah, we're going to sweep this one. I also think you get a lot of higher player interaction. I know there's blocking off of spots in Everdell, but for me, the player interaction, the mind games that you play with people where they're going to put stuff, or are you going to go card heavy? I think there's a couple different ways you can definitely go in Shackleton Base to get to victory as well, which I always look forward to. So Shackleton Base for me on this one.
All right, so Shackleton Base sweeps replayability. We go to the final category, fun factor. I'm going to lead on this one, and I am going to stick with Shackleton Base. Both of these are fun. Shackleton Base, we have had some stand-up moments. I always think back to that game where we played with the meteor coming after us, and what was going to happen there. That was a great game, but there's a lot of those. And again, opportunities to be clever, chain things together. It's Shackleton Base. Maybe not easy for me, but it wasn't a question in my mind. I'll go to Pete.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you as much as I want to say Everdell, because I had a lot of fun playing this solo when Owen was doing theater. I would sit in and just play, and I'd have people come and hey, what are you playing there? That looks really cool. And I had a fun time sharing that with people. But there are some stand up moments with Shackleton Base that really shine through. So I'm gonna go with Shackleton Base. Hurts a little to say it, but I'm gonna say it. Go ahead, David.
I,
Sweep it
I,
up.
I'm gonna sweep this one up. I do have a lot of fun playing Everdell, especially because my first play of that was a really bad experience. Played it like 3 years later and had a way better time with it. I think somebody just taught us wrong the first time we played that game. And so, but Shackleton Base, I mean, I just have so much stand up moments, not only with this group, but with other groups. To me, I just like it. So, fun factor, Shackleton Base for sure.
All right, so another sweep for Shackleton Base on the fun factor, and Shackleton Base spaces out and with a 5-0 count beats Everdell to move on in our tournament. Guys, Everdell is ranked at number 61. Shackleton Base, when I put my notes together, it was 575. It's now 555 today. So it's moving up. It just baffles me that Shackleton Base is not higher ranked, given how much we enjoyed how good of a game it is.
Yeah. It's a hidden gem, I think. I think more people need to get their hands on this game.
I
I
think
don't
that
understand it.
Yeah, I think the theme in Everdell, just those animals, it's a beautiful game. And I think that really draws people in. They see that cover and they want to play it. And it's a fantastic game.
All right, we'll move on to our next to last battle for today. We have the Quest for El Dorado, our number 7 seed, and our number 10 seed, Castle Combo. Castle Combo is a 2 to 5 player set collection and tableau building game. It places you in the service of the king, recruiting characters from the village and the castle to attend the great combo party. Its current BGG ranking is 252, and it defeated Faraway in episode 47 to get here. The Quest for El Dorado is a 2 to 4 player deck building racing game that drops you in the middle of South America as an expedition leader, searching for the ancient city of gold. It's number 121 overall, and it outlasted Clank in episode 45, one of Pete's favorite games, to make the Meeple Madness Tournament. The Quest for El Dorado against Castle Combo. We'll start with theme and production as we always do. I will start this one, and I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Castle Combo. There's it's a silly theme. It's just a theme to make what they want to do work with the mechanisms. It doesn't speak to me. Production's nothing special. It's cardboard shits. When I look at the Quest for El Dorado, while the production may not be great, I appreciate the theme. It works really well. You feel like you're trying to move through a jungle, find a path there. It is the Quest for El Dorado for me on theme and production. I will kick it over to Pete.
Quest for El Dorado, I think, is going to take this for me on theme and production as well. The production value is kind of average on both of them, but I do agree that I think the theme comes through a little bit more. David.
Yeah, this one's easy for me. I like both of these games, but the theme, Quest for El Dorado has one. I'm not sure Castle Combo does. So theme on that alone, I'm going for Quest.
All right, so a sweep for the Quest for El Dorado on theme and productions. We go to mechanisms, right back to David.
This one's a little bit more challenging for me. I do like Castle Combo. I do like the 3x3 grid that you put together, and then with the keys and everything that you can do. The one thing I don't like about that game, though, is the limited nature of trying to be able to select cards. I feel like it's very confining, but I do like that 3x3 grid mech. Quest for El Dorado, though, just trying to get to the end, how you're going to do that, what cards are you building, what engine are you building? It seems simple, but yet there's so many different routes you can go. I'm gonna go with Quest. I don't know. I didn't know until I said it. Anyways, kicking it over to Pete.
Man, you keep coming back to me on this.
You got to vote eventually, Pete.
Man, yeah, I want you to make it easy for me. Yeah, mechanics on these, as you said, with Castle Combo, you are trying to combo things out. It's in the name of the game. Not one of my most favorite mechanics. As far as deck building goes, I do enjoy that. I think there's some challenges there, but I feel that race isn't always there. I'm actually going to lean with Castle Combo on this one, and only because I think it feels a little bit fresh. There's a lot of race games out there, and it's a very basic race for me. And I think I just get a little bit more out of the mechanics with Castle Combo. I like the way things bounce around and that. So, Chris, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, it's up to me to break this tie. For Castle Combo, I mean, it's just this little 3x3 tableau. It pretty much takes that mechanism and makes it the center. But I think when it's doing that, I feel like, and David, you alluded to it, you don't really have enough agency to be able to get to the cards that will make that tableau work. I know, hey, that's what it's supposed to be. It just doesn't speak to me. I think it's a little bit broken. And I think El Dorado, the Quest for El Dorado, when you're crafting your deck, putting your deck together and trying to call cards out of it, that's pretty much, hey, taking this mechanism, putting it at the center with your theme, but I think it does it much better, centering on a single mechanism and doing it well. It's the Quest for El Dorado for me, which means that takes mechanisms as well. We go on to value for your time, and I'll kick it to Pete to start.
Yeah, value for my time. There's a lot of setup with Quest for El Dorado, and which decks of cards you're going to do, and that's part of the factor for me. I can get a game of Castle Combo in about 30-35 minutes. I played it at lunchtime, and people enjoy it. And the value there for me, again, I think it gives me something a little bit different. Neither of these are unique, but the value I think I get out of that Quest for El Dorado, it just doesn't do it for me. I'm going to go back to Chris.
Yeah, I'm going to go the opposite way. Castle Combo is certainly quicker, although El Dorado doesn't take super long. But for Castle Combo, it's not worth that time for me. So I'm going to go with the Quest for El Dorado. It's 1-to-1 on value for your time. I'll kick it to David.
I think you guys both give really good points. I was looking at time. I was surprised to see the times were about 30 minutes each for me on both of them. But there is a significant amount of setup, like Pete was saying, to get Quest out, which kind of skews it for me. I think I'm going to go with Castle Combo on this one, just because of the setup time that Quest takes. Sometimes I just want to pull out a small box and get it to the table fast, and I could do that with Castle Combo, and I can't always do that with Quest. It's more of a pain to set up. So that's where I'm going for that one, because everything else is the same to me.
All right, so Castle Combo takes value for your time. That's interesting to me, though, David, because I remember when we were playing El Dorado, I thought, man, that's got to be a bear to set up. And maybe I think it was Danielle at the time. She was like, it wasn't that bad. We got the cards in order and all that. But it looked to me like it would be a bear to set up, certainly compared to Castle Combo for sure.
Yeah, compared to Castle Combo for sure.
Yeah. We go to replayability. I'm going to go first on this one as well. It's El Dorado again. It's my fourth vote for that game. Castle Combo is the same. every single time. I know it's not, but yes, it is. El Dorado, you've got different ways to set up the track. You buy a different card as your first card, and your whole game can be different as to how you build that deck. It's definitely El Dorado, Quest for El Dorado for me. On replayability, I will go to David.
I'm gonna have to. This one's tough for me. I like both of these games. That's the problem. They do a little bit different things. They got matched up in this early matchup. I'm gonna go with Castle Combo on replayability. The reason why is because I don't think I've seen all the cards yet. There is a lot of cards on both sides of the deck and the combinations that you can put into them. Even though I do get replayability, you can switch the maps around and kind of do different ones and stuff like that on Quest. I think if Quest had all the expansions in the US available readily, I'd probably switch my vote. But just base game to base game, I'm gonna go with Castle Combo just by a hair. I'm kicking it over to Pete.
I'm going to go with Quest for El Dorado on this one. I do think the different decks that came out or the ones that you choose to play with really change up the game. And, you're playing with a thin set of deck when it comes to Castle Combo, and it's just kind of limited. So I'm going to go with Quest for El Dorado on replayability.
All right, the Quest for El Dorado takes replayability. Then it's got a 3-1 lead in the competition, but we will go to fun factor. I will kick it right back to Pete.
Man, neither one of these are super fun to me. I'm just going to say that straight out. If they're both sitting at a table, I think I would rather play Castle Combo. That's what I'm going to go with. Chris, I'm going to throw it right back at you.
Yeah, and if they're both sitting on a table, I'm going to throw a napkin over Castle Combo. I'm going to Quest for El Dorado. I agree. Well, maybe neither one of these has you laughing out loud, but I do think that when we get towards the end of Quest for El Dorado and you know that someone's about to make that big run, the tension ratchets up a little bit that you don't see in Castle Combo. That gives it the tip for me. It's 1-1 so far in Fun Factor. David, you've been split. You've given 2 votes to El Dorado, 2 votes to Castle Combo. Where's your final vote?
Yeah, this one's still a little bit difficult. I think it comes to just experiences that I've had with both games. I've had a lot of fun with both games, but there's a memorable experiences I have with Quest. Just because I played it at 4 players, but I also played it at 2 players with my brother quite a bit, where you actually have 2 guys instead of just 1, and how you strategize about which one you're moving. Do you just get one all the way through and then start again, or do you kind of move them together? I think that combination as a 2-player game and those experiences really just knock up the fun factor for me, because I think there's just a little bit more there when it comes to fun. So yeah, so I guess I'm going Quest, but just by, I don't know, just by a little bit. like Pete said, odd or even day.
Yeah, so the Quest for El Dorado wins the fun factor and by a count of 4-1 takes out Castle Combo to move on to the Elite 8 of our Meeple Madness tournament. We have one more matchup in this first round here. We've already talked about Moon Colony Bloodbath. It makes its return. It's up against the number 2 seed Nemesis, which is a 1-to-5 player semi-cooperative science fiction dungeon crawler where you and your crew battle alien intruders while attempting to return to Earth from a doomed spaceship. Its current BGG ranking is 25, and Nemesis ate through Shadows over Camelot in episode 75 to make the tournament. We will start, as we always do, with theme and production. Nemesis versus Moon Colony Bloodbath. I'm starting this one. Nemesis with that theme. It is the movie Alien. It sings. I think there's no doubt you feel like you are in there. When those aliens start to come out, it really ratchets it up. The theme is funny in Moon Colony Bloodbath. We talked about that. But this game just drips in its theme, and it does it perfectly. It's Nemesis for me. I will kick it to David.
Yeah, Nemesis for me too. Just for everything that you said, the production's over the top. What's more to be said when you look at these 2 games on the table? Unless you just really like that goofy theme that Moon Colony Bloodbath brings to the table. But kicking over to Pete.
Yeah, it's not even close. Nemesis.
All right, so Nemesis blows away, maybe eats through again Moon Colony Bloodbath. To win theme and production, we go on to mechanisms. I'll kick it back to Pete.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Nemesis on the mechanisms. There's a lot there. There's exploration. You're trying to be quiet as you're moving around. Just fantastic. All the different mechanisms that are there. You have, some special player powers that you can do. Moon Colony Bloodbath, I'm seeing what card gets flipped over, and I'm trying to minimize my thing. There's just way more. Let's go back to Chris.
Yeah, I think there are brilliant mechanisms in Nemesis. It's a lot to keep track of, right? And so if you're not playing this game a lot, you're probably figuring out how all those mechanisms work. You're looking to the rule book a lot. At the same time, though, that's one of the things that makes it so great, the way all those things that you do have to keep up with, the way they work so well together. Moon Colony Bloodbath, you're right, it's got the one mechanism, and there's only so much you can do. It's very little you can do. It's Nemesis by far for me, but I'll kick it over to David.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sweep it. Nemesis for me as well, for all that you guys have said.
All right, so Nemesis, another sweep. We go to value for your time. There are definitely some differences in playtime on Nemesis versus Moon Colony Bloodbath. I will kick it to David.
You know, for me on this one, value for my time, maybe it's because I've been eliminated quite a bit on Nemesis, and the game it tends to go long. I'd much rather play Moon Colony Bloodbath. I know the arc of that. When I get into Nemesis, I'm not quite sure how long that game's going to be for me. I could be out maybe an hour earlier before everybody else. Everybody just wants to let me die and sit there by the side of the road. It's a good time. But yeah, so for value for my time, I'd much rather play um, Moon Colony Bloodbath if I'm just going by time because it's hard for me to want to sit for a 3 to 4 hour game unless it's up there for me. Kicking it over to Pete.
Yeah, to me, I'm gonna go against the time that you're saying. It's really the value for me, and if I'm gonna play either of these games, I'm really going to get an experience out of Nemesis that I'm not gonna get out of Moon Colony Bloodbath. So, again, it's not always strictly the time; it's that value that comes with it, and just that whole gameplay and that experience that comes with that value. Chris, what do you
Yeah,
got?
I'm there with you, Pete. Nemesis is certainly longer. Even if you're playing through it quickly, it's going to be longer. But every single minute of that game, I'm going to have a good time playing it. It's just every single one. And from a standpoint of value, I also I put my money where my mouth was. I ended up buying a copy of this, bought it off of David, so I got it at a decent price. And I'm sitting at my game table right now, recording this in the vault. Is Nemesis? I'm halfway through a game of that, so definitely Nemesis for me. I'm going to spend a lot of time playing that. It takes a commanding lead over a Moon Colony Bloodbath. It sounds like maybe the aliens have attacked the colony. There's probably some card in there for that. But we go to replayability. I'll go back to Pete.
Yeah, I think, again, the depth of play that Nemesis has with the variable setup, the different, goals that you might have, one game from another is going to feel traumatically different, way different than the other. Moon Colony Bloodbath, you know what's coming, you know what's in those decks. It's just a matter of what order they're going to come out. Build up as much as you can and get whaled, where I'd rather just kind of creep around on the spaceship and see if I can get off. More exciting to me. I'm gonna go over to David this time.
Yeah, replayability to me for the experience, just every time being different. I think I do think it takes the right group though that has to play Nemesis. I will say that if you don't get the right group, I think it could be a bad experience. But if you get that right group that's in that mindset, they want to go explore this ship, they really get into that theme. I think that makes the replayability very high on that one. So I'm going with Nemesis as well. Kicking it over to Chris.
Yeah, it's definitely Nemesis for me. Moon Colony Bloodbath is a lot of fun. I would play that a lot. It's the same game, not really, but it kind of is over and over again. Nemesis easily on replayability for me. It's another sweep. We go to fun factor. This could be an interesting one. I will kick it back to David to start.
Yeah, for me, although I enjoy a lot of my experiences with Nemesis, a fun factor for me, if I'm just doing it just for myself, I'm probably picking Moon Colony Bloodbath, but just by a little bit. I don't know. It depends on the play experience. But for right now, I will say that I do have such great memories though in Nemesis games. So I don't know. I might switch my vote. You could probably convince me if you pick me last, but you picked me first. So I'm going to go with Moon Colony to make the show interesting. Anyways, moving it over to Pete.
Yeah, fun comes in a lot of different packages. There's laugh out loud fun, there's scary movie fun. And I think where I'm coming down on this one is just the whole experience in playing Nemesis is just a great time. Whether I die or not, I had fun doing it. In Moon Colony Bloodbath, probably going to die, not going to have fun doing it. So I'm going to go with Nemesis. I think that's my vote. Let's go to Chris.
Yeah, I have fun with both of these. It's an interesting fun in Moon Colony Bloodbath where again you're just getting slaughtered, and it's the fun of can I last longer than the person to my right or the person to my left. But I'm with you, Pete. Nemesis, it's a different kind of fun, but it's actually even when things aren't going well because that's the theme, and so I'm sitting there ready to go into an escape pod, and you throw me out of the room, right? Because you have that power to do that. And then I think I'm still safe. And then David slams down one of the doors so the aliens can get in. that's fun. Even though maybe it's a little frustrating at the time, my gosh, it's fun too. It's Nemesis for me. Nemesis wins the fun factor, and that was a bloodbath. 13 votes to 2. Nemesis defeats Moon Colony Bloodbath to take the final spot in the Elite Eight in our 2026 Meeple Madness Tournament. So, guys, we have 8 games left. We have Great Western Trail, Space Base, Darwin's Journey, Flip 7, Endeavor Deep Sea, Shackleton Base, The Quest for El Dorado, and Nemesis still in the tournament. Any surprises for you guys, or did that kind of go how you thought it would?
Well, Flip 7 was a surprise for me. I really didn't think that was gonna come out swinging the way that it did. And again, talk about our categories and really trying to evaluate each game with those categories. I think that really goes to show that even a lighter game can really hold its own against something heavy.
Yeah, that was a surprise to me too.
Yeah, Flip 7 was that was a 13 beating a 4. Shackleton Base was actually the biggest upset. It was a 14 beating a 3 in Everdell. Do you guys have a favorite to win? Don't tell me what it is, but if you're looking at those, do you think you know who's going to win, or is it still up in the air?
Mine is still in the running.
So is mine.
Yeah, my prediction is still in the running too. I'm questioning whether I made the right call on that. But hey, 10 games have fallen in this year's Meeple Madness tournament. 8 still remain. We hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you want to get in touch with us, tell us what we got right and maybe where we shot an airball. Email us at thefifthmeeple@gmail.com and reach out to us on social media as well. Of course, if you like our show, we'd love it if you give us a 5-star review to help us grow. Thanks as always for listening. Remember to join us next week to see who comes out on top in this year's Meeple Madness tournament. And until next time, remember, it's nice to be a winner in tournaments, but it's more important to be a winner in life. Spoken like a true loser. Goodbye, everyone.
Adios, amigos.
Goodbye, everybody.